You've got to jump off cliffs all the time and build your wings on the way down. I think the only way we can grow and get on in this world is to accept the fact we're not perfect and live accordingly. All you had to do was pull a book from the shelf and open it, and suddenly the darkness was not so dark anymore. You're not like the others. I've seen a few. I know. When I talk, you look at me. When I said something about the moon, you looked at the moon. Isn't this a nice time of night to walk? I like to smell things and look at things, and sometimes stay up all night, walking, and watch the sun rise. Science is no more than an investigation of a miracle we can never explain, and art is an interpretation of that miracle. I just want someone to hear what I have to say, and maybe if I talk long enough, it'll make sense. I'm numb and I'm tired. Too much has happened today. I feel as if I'd been out in a pounding rain for 48 hours without an umbrella or a coat. I'm soaked to the skin with emotion. It was only the other night everything was fine, and the next thing I know I'm drowning. How many times can a man go down and still be alive? I can't breathe. Most of all, I like to watch people. Sometimes I ride the subway all day and look at them and listen to them. I just want to figure out who they are and what they want and where they are going. Sunsets are loved because they vanish. Flowers are loved because they go. We never sit anything out. We are cups, quietly and constantly being filled. The trick is knowing how to tip ourselves over and let the beautiful stuff out. Kindness and intelligence are the preoccupations of age. Being cruel and thoughtless is far more fascinating when you're 20. Burn all, burn everything. Fire is bright and fire is clean. You're afraid of making mistakes. Don't be. It's just, I love to watch people too much, I guess. If you can't have the reality, a dream is just as good. You have to know how to accept rejection and reject acceptance. We Earthmen have a talent for ruining big, beautiful things. If you hide your ignorance, no one will hit you and you'll never learn. Love will fly if held too lightly. Love will die if held too tightly. But souls can't be sold. They can only be lost and never found again. The critics are generally wrong, or they're 15, 20 years late. It's a great shame. They miss out on a lot. I can't explain it, except in terms of intellectual snobbery. Sandwich outdoors isn't a sandwich anymore. Tastes different than indoors. Notice, got more spice, tastes like mint and pine sap. Does wonders for the appetite. Some days, he went on, were days of hearing every trump and trill of the universe. Some days were good for tasting, and some for touching, and some days were good for all the senses at once. Learning to let go should be learned before learning to get. Life should be touched, not strangled. You've got to relax, let it happen at times, and at others move forward with it. There was always a minority afraid of something, and a great majority afraid of the dark, afraid of the future, afraid of the past, afraid of the present, afraid of themselves and shadows of themselves. Looking back over a lifetime, you see that love was the answer to everything. Love is the answer to everything. It's the only reason to do anything. If you don't write stories you love, you'll never make it. If you don't write stories that other people love, you'll never make it. The magic is only in what books say, how they stitch the patches of the universe together into one garment for us. A book is a loaded gun in the house next door. Who knows who might be the target of the well-read man? It is a lie to write in such way as to be rewarded by fame offered you by some snobbish quasi-literary groups in the intellectual gazettes. I thought you could pummel and thrash an idea into existence. Under such treatment, of course, any decent idea folds up its paws, turns on its back, fixes its eyes on eternity, and dies. You don't have to burn books to destroy a culture. Just get people to stop reading them. I have never listened to anyone who criticized my taste in space travel, sideshows, or gorillas. When this occurs, I pack up my dinosaurs and leave the room. You must stay drunk on writing so reality cannot destroy you. We are cups, constantly and quietly being filled. The trick is knowing how to tip ourselves over and let the beautiful stuff out. There is more than one way to burn a book, and the world is full of people running about with lit matches. Stuff your eyes with wonder, he said. Live as if you drop dead in 10 seconds. See the world. It's more fantastic than any dream made or paid for in factories. We need not to be let alone. We need to be really bothered once in a while. How long is it since you were really bothered? About something important, about something real? There must be something in books, something we can't imagine, to make a woman stay in a burning house. There must be something there. You don't stay for nothing. If learning to let go should be learned before learning to get, life should be touched, not strangled. You've got to relax, let it happen at times, and at others move forward with it. I'm 17 and I'm crazy. My uncle says the two always go together. When people ask your age, he said, always say 17 and insane. Don't think. Thinking is the enemy of creativity. It's self-conscious, and anything self-conscious is lousy. You can't try to do things. You simply must do things. The good writers touch life often. The mediocre ones run a quick hand over her. The bad ones rape her and leave her for the FLIs. We are an impossibility in an impossible universe. The magic is only in what books say, how they stitch the patches of the universe together into one garment for us. Your intuition knows what to write, so get out of the way. Insanity is relative. It depends on who has who locked in what cage. You can't make people listen. They have to come round in their own time, wondering what happened and why the world blew up around them. It can't last. A good night's sleep, or a 10-minute ball, or a pint of chocolate ice cream, or all three together, is good medicine. All the women in my life have been librarians, English teachers, and booksellers. We have too many cell phones. We've got too many internets. We have got to get rid of those machines. We have too many machines now. If you're embarrassed because you have some notion about how men are supposed to behave, and it doesn't include weeping, then you have some personal work to do. The answer to all writing, to any career for that matter, is love. Books are alive, you see. They're not dead, they're alive. When I was born in 1920, the auto was only 20 years old. Radio didn't exist. TV didn't exist. I was born at just the right time to write about all of these things. I have my favorite cat, who is my paperweight, on my desk while I am writing. I'm never going to go to Mars, but I've helped inspire, thank goodness, the people who built the rockets and sent our photographic equipment off to Mars. I've only written one science fiction book, Fahrenheit 451. That book is a book based on real facts and my hatred of people who destroy books. Love is the answer to everything. It's the only reason to do anything. If you don't write stories you love, you'll never make it. If you don't write stories that other people love, you'll never make it. There's no one way to be creative. Any old way will work. I don't have a computer. A computer's a typewriter. I already have a typewriter. You can write a short story in 2 hours. 2 hours a day, you have a novel in a year. Love is easy, and I love writing. You can't resist love. You get an idea, someone says something, and you're in love. You pay a certain penalty for going your own way. A lot of people think you're nuts, and you're not as popular with girls as you should be. I never ask anyone else's opinion. They don't count. The great fun in my life has been getting up every morning and rushing to the typewriter because some new idea has hit me. Without libraries, what have we? We have no past and no future. I'm not a serious person, and I don't like serious people. Collecting facts is important, knowledge is important, but if you don't have an imagination to use the knowledge, civilization is nowhere. There are worse crimes than burning books. One of them is not reading them. I got started as an actor when I was 12. If you're living in your time, you cannot help but to write about the things that are important. I don't go around thinking I'm Ray Bradbury all the time. I think we're doing a dreadful job of educating. You don't read in your own field, you read in that field when you're young, so that you can learn. I think the reason my stories have been so successful is that I have a strong sense of metaphor.